Second. Guys, we will join in just 1 second. If anybody's watching, we will start in about 3 minutes.
So you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, James. I just want to make sure we're all set.
You still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, we are live, James. We are good. I can see us on our page. I can hear us, and
Right.
all right, we're ready to get started. Hold on 1 second. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Cedric Coit,
Hey,
and
and
I'm a
I'm
member
James.
of. Okay, and I have my brother, Mr. James, and today is Monday, January the 25th, 2021, and welcome to Recovery 101. And I hope everybody has had a great weekend. I hope everybody is still remaining safe. And you're doing the things that you need to do to take care of yourselves. Well, today we're going to talk about our subject today is your recovery W-2 form. What is your
Yeah.
recovery worth? What is your recovery actually worth? And James, I really like this. I really like this subject matter because, now it's that time for, people to receive the W-2s in the mail and you're anticipating the wait and everybody is just kind of, checking the mailbox or checking your emails for those W-2 forms. Well, today we want to talk about your recovery W-2 forms. We want to use that template of the W-2 forms, and we're going to tie that into how it pertains to everybody's recovery, including mine, James, and everybody that's listening. So, how's that sound, James?
That sounds great. What we're going to do is, I like the way you said that we're going to take this small template that's something that we are all familiar with, something that we do every year. Some of us do it early. Last several years I've been doing it early. I like that versus late. Some of us have anxiety from stuff like that. It's kind of like sometimes you don't want to open the mail because of what it might say. So
Right.
what you might have to deal with immediately. So, you know, um, what we're gonna do here today is go deeper with what it is. It's something that we see every year. We're just gonna
Mhm.
take it to a deeper level related to our recovery.
Gotcha. So let's start with the anticipation. Everybody is waiting, checking the mailbox. I stated that in the beginning how we all anticipate and wait on our W-2 forms. Well, let's think about in your recovery, as you've waited so long for your graduation date. You waited so long, to end your detox class or to earn your certificate or to make that next step to enter that particular job, based upon your journey and your efforts in your recovery. And so your W-2 forms, just think about it. You're so anxious to receive this form here. You're waiting on it and you open it up. Well, same thing applies. You're so anxious to receive your certificate. You're waiting on that. You put in the work. All right. And your feelings, you feel happy, you feel nervous, you feel anxious, you may feel a little worried. James, you want to elaborate a little bit on those feelings? How did it work for you? Or how was it for you when um, as you're waiting on your W-2s for
For
your,
recovery.
your
Yeah.
recovery?
So W-2s for recovery, for me, I remember, making small goals. I remember trying to go, if I can just get to the next 3 months, if I can just get this to happen for me for the next 3 months. So when we talk about these things, for the next few months or the next year, we know we get a physical W-2 every year. So when it comes to recovery, we look at what our outcomes was. We look at outcome-based thought process. Remember, guys, we are at this point in our lives when we're at this place and we start being conscious of these efforts. We're
Mhm.
sometimes up and down, right? Cedric, is sometimes a struggle, you know.
Yes.
So we want to apply this thought process just for a breakdown. For me, it was some ups and downs, some
Mhm.
struggles. I wanted it to show more. Don't we want it to show more? The more
Right.
you earn, the more they're gonna take taxes, but still it's the more you earn.
Right.
So if you earn a lot more, yeah, they took more taxes than the last time, but you still earn a lot more. It makes you feel better. So what are we earning in our wages related to our wages of recovery? You
Mm.
know,
And and James, I like that. What are we earning? That's a great question. What are we really earning? You're earning self-discipline. You're earning some new skills, some new talents you learned about yourself. You're
mm,
earning a new when I say skill, maybe a new whatever that job could have been a challenge for you,
mm,
but you learned how to maneuver and how to do your job to be more efficient and self-sufficient and effective on the job. So you learn some new skills about yourself and how to apply those skills on the job. And I want to point out, within a W-2, you have your employer, okay? And I just got this little sample here. But your employer, think about when you make that connection with that employer. You're going to think about everything that you're doing. That employer has met you, you've met them at the beginning of the year. You've proven yourself that you can do the due diligence, do the job. You worked that entire year. You've been honest. You've been respectful. You've come to work. You've done everything that you're supposed to do. So you've established that relationship with that employer. And I want to talk about how, in terms of your recovery, where you've established that relationship with yourself in order for you to embark on your journey, and with others that are pouring into you that are giving you encouraging words, that are saying, hey, don't stop. The classes that we provide here that help everybody on so many different levels throughout their journey of their recovery, the supports you may have, so on, warm line, so many things and so many relationships and connections that you establish along your journey throughout your recovery. And your recovery W-2 will reflect that in the name of the employer that you've made that connection with. So there's
correct.
so many things that you can take from looking back over your recovery W-2 form. I really like this because it's right on time, right, around the season, and everybody is anticipating it. But I just think this is a perfect topic for what we're talking about. Anything you want to share, James, or any
Yeah, I
thoughts? Or
mean, absolutely. Thanks, Cedric. Listen, when we look at uh, that physical W-2, and we look at the fields where words and letters and numbers, it looks like numbers. And every number actually means, for instance,
yeah,
tax withheld.
okay.
Tax withheld. That stands out to me like this is something that we presume taken from us,
Mm-hmm.
taken from me. Something was withheld from me. So in that journey of our W-2 recovery form,
Uh-huh.
in
Uh-huh.
that journey, sometimes we lose people, right? Physically, we lose family members because we change the process. We're working hard on changes our mind. We can't go over it more. I can't kick it with you like that no more.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's right.
and even though I love you, I have to choose to love me on a higher level, which to me, at that moment feels like a withheld, tax held, or withdraw, or deduction.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we go to another year, and then by then we can see what the benefits of those tax withheld or those deductions might be. What do you think about that, sir?
I think that's spot on, because it gives you choice throughout your journey. Like that highlights, and if I'm not mistaken, that highlights you have the ability to make the choice to do what's next, what's the next best thing along your
Amen.
journey. Your tax withheld, you could have severed that relationship. You could have stopped that relationship early with that employer. But you have a choice in the matter. Same thing with your recovery. You have a choice in your journey along with your recovery. I think another thing I'm thinking about, James, that sticks out to me is the employee's social security number. All right. So
Mm,
everybody has one.
mm,
We all have one. All right. That doesn't change. And to me, that means you will never change. You will be the person that you are, but you're growing. You're growing along the journey. So some things here don't change, and that image of self and who you are.
Yes, I can see that.
Within, you see what I'm saying? That's a
Yeah,
permanent. That's a permanent stamp. That's a permanent. What do you want to call it? That's you, basically. That's you. That's who you are. And so within your W-2 form, that doesn't change, but you're growing and you're learning things along your journey. So things like, because you think about it, your state could change. You could decide to move.
correct.
Um, the wages are going to change based upon, and you know what? The wages can change based upon how well you're doing on your job and how well you're doing on your
Yeah,
recovery. You can get an increase, you can stay the same, there could be a decrease. You know, all these things are giving you tools and just helping you reflect on you. So at the end, when you open up this form and you look back over this form, you can see all the things. This is your work. This is your
yeah.
work.
Yeah, I like that, Cedric, and not only that, really is you embodying that work is also should be seen to me as a signpost. When you're driving down and here in Charlotte, 485 North, that's a signpost to tell you where you are. And if you
Mhm.
see the wrong signpost based off the direction that you plan on going, then you're heading in the wrong direction.
That's right.
So that W-2, it kind of shows you some different things about you and what's going on. And actually it can change in midstream. It can change anytime. You talked about that increase. You can get that increase in midstream, which means that what your W-2 would have looked like,
Mhm.
uh, now it looks different. And oftentimes in recovery, that happens to us. Sometimes I think it's an old saying that's it's always darkest before the dawn.
Mhm.
So you might start out and then you have the right mentors, you dig deep, you work harder, you focus, you hang around, you make good choices to hang around the best people, you work hard here because the biggest game to me, Cedric, is in our minds. And then you the last 3 months of the year, you got that raise,
That's right.
you're in another space.
That's
It can
right.
still be the same company. And not to mention, Cedric, sometimes how many of us have multiple?
Right. Right.
Multiple of these, you
Right.
know, in 1 year. So,
Yeah.
when we look back and we think about where we're going and we make these goals, and we make goals, whether it's there for a few months or we make goals, I find it easier for me for 90 days. I can kind of, you know, look at things and go for the easiest and the best, quickest things for me to achieve, which builds momentum.
Mhm.
And when you look at those things, and you can get happy with knowing that here's something that all of us don't realize until someone helps us realize this, and that is in our recovery, you're doing a lot more than you think you're doing. It just
Right.
looked like you're walking slow. It's like that dream that you're a turtle or you running hard but you ain't going nowhere. You're
Right.
really getting somewhere.
Right. 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 You are. You are. You really are. And your journey is your journey. Your lane is your lane. And so it takes time. And so for anybody who may feel as if, you may feel hopeless along your journey, or may feel like things are not going the way that you want it to go. Stop. Just stop. Stop for a second, take a deep breath, and reconnect and get back out there and do what do what you're doing. Because every time there are times where I've had to stop along the way and regroup and gather myself. That's why you're going to have different forms, different W-2 forms, because that may not work for you. You're going to find
Yeah.
out that different connections and different relationships and staff, whatever, along your journey may not work for you. And so there may be some changes to where you have to stop that in that relationship and start a new relationship, you
Wow.
know, a new journey along your path to your recovery. And so for anyone who may feel a little hopeless. We don't forget we do have our warm line out here, and that number is 833 390-7728. And that's a 24-hour free confidential warm line number. So if anybody needs to call and talk about, your recovery W-2 today or tomorrow or next week, any given time, please give us a call. And, and we'll be willing to talk. We'll be willing to talk.
Cedric, I think that's a great thought process, because we just brought something that mirrors us in the physical life of working, and we get so inundated with that, but we get to take our temperature in some of the places and give ourselves a clap in the hand for the choices that we're making, for the people we decide around, for the through the tough stuff. And I always say, and I have to eat this sometimes for myself, but I always say the things that is the hardest thing for us to do is the thing we must do. So I'm glad you brought up that about the warm line, because we're always available to just listen and support you on your recovery plans and thought processes, bounce things off of you, and I like to call it co-creating. One of the other things I want to say about this W-2, the physical W-2, one thing is not on here, Cedric, and it's not necessary for finances, but if it would be necessary for finances, if this was, well, it is sometimes with you on your job. Based off the subjects that you have in your physical life on the job, your supervisors, your whatever you call your boss, your managers, they sometimes ask you for this 3-letter word, this acronym, and they evaluate this acronym. So it's very important for us with our W-2 for recovery to do a happy, thankful self, what we call ROI, return on investment.
Okay.
So, always look to your, the goal here is for your own self-sufficient return on investment. You're returning your investment to you. This is your investment. This is a snapshot of what's happened for you and the choices you made. And I think that, with some of our goals, we should always know at the end, what is my return? What did I do for myself? What did my family and friends and the people who support me, my natural support system, help me achieve? So when we really write it out, it might have been a long journey, but a lot of times we do a lot of great things.
You do. And then at the end of your journey, just thinking about it, when you take this form and you look and you gather all the things and you go through these different array of feelings, and wow, you say, man, I earned that much this year, it makes you either feel good about yourself, or it makes you feel like, maybe I need to work a little harder at that particular promotion. Maybe I need to work a little harder, along my journey and recovery, because I know I can get it. I know I can earn. I know I can graduate. I know I can complete this particular program, whatever the task may be. You take this form, this W-2, and this your blueprint, and it gives you all the information about you. I think about the RICH acronym that we talk about a lot. We've used that. It's a trauma-informed acronym through risk and connections. And though the R stands for respect, I stands for information, the C stands for connection, and the H stands for hope. But with all due respect, you have to, one, respect you, respect the time, respect the effort, respect your journey, respect your lane, respect yourself, respect others, everybody that's pouring into you. That information is right here in that form. That information could be, you, James, having a resource, me having a resource, whoever your connections are. And that's C. That C stands for connection, that employer, your friends, your family, your peers. And that H ends with hope. You think about it. Once you seal this up, you seal this W-2 up, there's a happy, hopeful feeling, because there's something coming in as a result of you putting in the effort.
Yeah.
You putting in the effort here. All this is the information. Everything that you put in the effort, and you send it off. And then you wait. You wait to receive the reward. It's the same thing when it applies to our recovery, our recovery journey. You know, as you look at it in your life, you've waited so long, you put in the work, and your reward is, hey man, I can start over anew. It feels good. Think about it when you get something new, when you earn something new, get a new car, or you a new outlook or a new perspective on life. Doesn't it feel good, James? It just feels good
Yeah,
to
it does,
the spirit, to your soul.
because and some of us during our recovery journey, remember when we didn't get any of these. We didn't get any of these.
Right.
Something happened. We were not in the game. We were not attentive to our own personal growth at those times. And now, do we have that? And the year, we look at the one from the year before. We look at the one from the year before, and as long as you're alive doing the work, man, you have a chance to change some of these things in these numbers. They got them categorized in number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
They
10,
do.
and they all have allocating. We got one here called um, uh, tips and comps. That represents to me the little nuggets that we get throughout the time in our recovery, where someone whispers in our ear, or someone says, "Hey, don't worry about this. Is free. This is on me." Somebody says, "Hey, I got some information for you. I got something." And a phone call comes, and you feel so blessed. So I'm gonna say that the area called wages, tips, or tips and comps, I'm gonna say enjoy those. Remember
Hmm.
those going into the next year. Remember what
Right.
happened to you, what happened for you.
Right, right. James, there's another thing here that's standing out to me is this date is a huge year. That year, like this one says 2013 or whatever that year is, but that could be your target date. That's your
Wow.
target date for yourself moving forward. For you to be able to say, you know what, by next year, sometime this time, or maybe beforehand or around about that time, approximately, I want to be in a different place. I want to be in a different position based on the information that I get that I've received from my employer within that W-2. Well, within my recovery journey, I want to work towards another goal. I want to have this goal accomplished based upon what I know. And so I
Yes.
have this date here, this target date here that I can work towards and work, you know, that gives you hope. I can move towards that date and get all the things that I need to get accomplished.
Outstanding.
I just want to check in. I know we have Miss Roberta. I think we have 3 people joining, but if anybody has any questions or comments, and hello, Miss Roberta, thanks for joining us today. I think that's all I see right now, but I'm hoping that everybody will go back and at least listen to some of the content that we're talking about, within this subject matter for today. Our subject was your recovery W-2 form. What is your recovery worth? What
Wow.
exactly is your recovery worth? And it's worth so much, period. It's worth the nights that you cry and you feel like you can't. It's worth the supports that you receive. It's worth the times where you may have to start over. It's
Yeah.
worth those moments, those teachable moments for us all. It's everything is worth it. Everything is worth it. So I would just encourage any and everybody who's watching and listening to us today to not forget, don't forget who you are. You can do it. Put your best foot forward. And when you receive your W-2, whether if it's your physical W-2 for your job or if it's your W-2 within your life, take all that information in, receive it, and do something with it. Do something positive. Turn it around. If you don't like how much you earn, what are you going to do? What goals are you going to work towards? Are you going to establish or create to help you to earn more? To learn more, to love more, to stop certain things that you're battling. All those things make a difference. So I just would encourage
Cedric,
everybody. What's that?
sorry to interrupt, but putting in this effort to receive wages is really, man, listen, let me tell you something, that spells out a lot. At the end of the day, your own self-worth is huge. You are worth it. You do matter, and you you can do whatever you really want. Um, these things that bring out the words about wages and understanding the efforts that was put in. There's relationships that you rebuilt. There's community activities that you got into. You always are going to get something back. It may not be exactly what you think it is, but you will always get something back. That day,
Right.
for 2 days straight, you went, and this happened to me for the last 3 days. Everything I got for me was free.
Mm,
I didn't have to pay for anything because I was around people who said, I want to take care of you. So, that you mean something to them,
right.
guys. So even if it's not a monetary, what you give is so powerful that
Mhm.
that W-2 for recovery will change.
Mhm. It will. It will. It will. And it definitely will change based upon the work that you put in. And don't stop. And don't stop. So I don't have anything else. I hope we've all enjoyed this conversation today. And I want to end and close with just reminding folks that if there's anything you want to talk about, give our warm line a call, 833-390-7728. And also, if there's any questions about employment or any questions, and you still want to stay connected to PRN, you can give our front desk a call, give Ms. Kim a call. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30. That number is 704-390-7709. So I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation today. James, do you have any closing words or anything that you would like to add?
Again, just gonna piggyback on knowing that you deserve it. Wake up in the morning, say to yourself that you deserve the best for you in your recovery. You deserve um, to to redevelop a positive, happy heart for yourself, for your family, and you deserve, it's just whatever it is. Just tell yourself you deserve it. And again, the warm line is up there. We love to listen um, to you and help develop ideas that you might, things that you might want to do. So um, think about it going forward in this year. That what is your W-2 for recovery going to look like? What are going to be some deductions? What are going to be those tips and wages? What are going to be that income level is going to look like? So that's all, man. You guys have a great day.
Okay, you have a great day and thank you for joining us. See you.